hello everyone and welcome to the Eldar Sim Racing Porsche RSR 911 series, round number 5 here at the Kyoto driving park, Yamagiwa and Miyabi 2. So we're going backwards around this circuit tonight. I am Nick Sargent, one of the admins for the Eldar Sim Racing group, and I have been the commentator so far throughout the entire series. As I say, we are here for round number 5. Previous 4 rounds have been very, very close, very, very exciting. Admittedly, 3 drivers seem to be running away with this series, and I'm semi-expecting similar sort of scenarios tonight, with the same 3 drivers almost running away and disappearing, and then a close battle from 4th backwards for the remaining positions. But we'll come to all of that as time goes on and we see what's going on with everyone. So we've got a few change-ups and bits and pieces like that tonight in the series. Obviously, we've got our regulars in at the moment. I'm just having a look down the list here. We've got Marshall or Collins having another go. Hopefully his connection's a little bit more stable tonight, and we actually get a decent race for Collins. Unfortunately only managing to complete 1 of the 4 races so far this series, which is a shame because I know Collins is a little bit quicker, and it is certainly better than his championship position is currently allowing. I can also see that we've got V-Man Racing, or Vladan Bogdanovic, in tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to race. We had a few issues last night with his connection, but he's managed to sort out a static IP, I believe, so hopefully that'll settle his connection down and we won't have too many issues come the start of qualifying. We've already got a few messages coming through on the live. Darren and Lee Dellington already saying a good evening to myself and Kim, who is sat in the background working away hard on thumbnails for the remaining series for the week for ESR. And I believe, well, she's already done all that. She's already on next week already, and a logo as well, so she's way ahead of the game already. So you might hear Kim in the background throughout the evening. Might have the odd question, who knows, we might even get the odd word on the mic, but stranger things have happened in the past. Like I say, we're here for round number 5 of the Eldar Sim Racing Porsche RSR 911 series. I'll give you a quick little rundown of the championship standings, as we've got about 7 minutes until qualifying gets underway, and as we do that I will do my utmost to get everything set. Let's turn all our keyboarding connections on, and there we are. We'll get a small display up as well. So our championship leader so far is Mark Littlejohn, who runs the white and black Jack Daniels livery, and he's actually had a couple of wins already this series. The first he's only had the 1 win, I believe it is Dennington who's had the 2 wins, but Littlejohn currently in the lead of the championship on 78 points. In 2nd place in the championship, parked right next door in the garages in pit lane, is Lee Dellington, and like I say, he's the first double winner of the series. A fantastic run out on last round at Brands Hatch. Masterful strategy, and actually pulled away from Dennington and Morris in the earlier stages. In the latter stages, I should say, to give him a nice big gap, and he could just manage his tyres perfectly to the end of the race and take victory. So Lee's currently sat in 2nd place in the championship, currently on 76 points. In 3rd place, and I can't actually see him in the lobby at the moment. Yes, there he is. I say that and I spot him. Is Gareth Morris in his Reese's orange livery. a victory and a couple of unfortunate third places for Morris. One where he made a big mistake at Santa Crow, pushing too hard as he was running out of fuel, trying to go for first place, made a mistake, ran wide, hit the barrier and spun, and lost out on second place to Dellington. Ended up with third. And of course last week he openly admitted that he messed up the fuel strategy and had to fuel save like anything to actually get to the end of the race, almost falling into the clutches of Darren Baldwin at the end. Morris, like I say, third place in the championship at the moment on 70 points, so only 8 points between the top 3 drivers. Like I say, it has been a close series so far. And I would imagine it would be these three out in front. They seem to have that little bit extra pace over the rest at the moment, but who knows? Someone might close the gap out a little bit, and that could well be 4th place in the championship. Darren Baldwin in his blue, red, yellow, black, white, all sorts of colours.
Shelton said he's doing a quick restart because it keeps dropping out.
Okay. So Shelton's just left, but he will be back. Just a quick reset on the router. So yes, Baldwin is currently in 4th place in the championship in his multicoloured Idol 4 Gaming Porsche 911. 4th place in the championship, a little bit unlucky in round 1 at Nürburgring, hitting the pit wall at the end of lap number 1. Causing a bit of damage, and it just annihilated his race really. Been playing catch up ever since, but doing a fantastic job, and currently sat in 4th place on 47 points. Next up we have Rasmus Omren, who is 2nd quickest. Looks like he's parked up at the side of the track somewhere. Can we get a better view of him? There we go. BWT livery, very much based on the old Force India Formula 1 cars. Pulled up, he's quite happy with pace and settings for himself at the moment. 5th place in the championship. Been very hit and miss this season, unfortunately for himself, but doing a grand job so far, and sat there in 5th place, currently on 45 points, just 2 points behind Darren Baldwin. Those two will be battling it out, no doubt, on track. They always seem very close on track together, so we shall see what happens between the two of them. Next up we have 6th place in the championship is Andy White. He's swapped livery since we had the 3rd round and the mainly orange based livery round for Robert Foote, the marshal who died at Brands Hatch, unfortunately. He's gone from the yellow to the orange base livery, but still looking very, very nice, very, very colourful out on track. He is currently sat in 6th place in the championship on 38 points, and he'll be looking to do everything he can to keep, and I don't think he's even in the lobby at the moment. I can't see him. In 7th place in the championship is Craig Thomas. Now he usually drives the the cat-based livery, very similar to the classic black cat truck as well that everyone has seen it out and about. Craig on 37 points, and will hopefully be looking to join the lobby. Although something tells me he did say earlier on that he might not make it into the race. So it looks like we've had Marky Mark join the lobby, but he's not down to take part in the championship. So we shall see what happens there. And there we are. Craig isn't racing tonight, unfortunately, so he will lose points in the battle for 6th place to Andy White. Next up is Stu Shelton, who I did see re-enter, and he has his lovely flowery BP livery on the go that was raced for the first couple of races, 3 races I think, by Brian Moncani, as Stu recovered from a shoulder operation. Stu now back in the car, and doing very well for himself. Currently sat in 8th place in the championship. 28 points as well. Sorry, 24 points as well, because he's obviously taken the points that Moncani had stored up for him in the meantime. And just before we go to start qualifying, we've got Morgan, who is in 9th place in the championship in his Snickers livery on 21 points. And we've got William Dyke as well, just to finish the top few on 20 points. Again, quite close with Adam Morgan. But it now comes down to the important side of things, and we have qualifying underway. I'll run through the rules a little bit as we go through the early laps of qualifying. Obviously only a 5-minute qualifying system, although the timer does not seem to be moving. So do we have a issue here with the pit lane maybe? Because qualifying time does not... yeah, it looks like there we go, qualifying time's now moved. So it does look like, unfortunately, we won't have Vladan Bogdanovic in the lobby tonight. Still having a few issues with the IP address and the router. So unfortunately we have lost Bogdanovic already tonight, but we have 4 minutes left of qualifying already around this massive circuit. The two circuits at Kyoto being combined by two very tight chicanes, two very tight hairpins, which we've just gone round to see if we can catch someone towards the back of the field. There we are, Morris already spun out, or choosing to go wide and losing a bit of time. There's one connection between the two tracks as Morris comes onto the smaller Miyabi circuit, more designed for the likes of go-karts and a little bit of short track racing. And then if we flick to the front of the field, Dennington's coming around the bottom end of the Miyabi track, and here a nice tight left-hand chicane which takes us back round to the climb back up the hill on the Yanguina track. So nicely combined two tracks there, right next to each other, making for one massively long track altogether. 20 turns in total, and we shall see how it all pans out for everyone. As Dennington comes up towards probably the fastest section of the circuit, through the latter turns of the circuit. But we shall see how things go. Like I say, we've got just purely the medium and the hard tyres available to be used tonight. Unfortunately, it looks like Moncani's going to drop out as well due to a few lagging issues. So we shall see what happens there, unfortunately. But yeah, Moncani has already left the room. Obviously doesn't want to cause any issues with taking someone out due to lag or anything like that, so fair play to Brian. He's joined back into the room, so we might have him at the beginning of the race, so we shall see. Like I was saying, medium and hard tyres only for these cars for the entire hour's race, and the guys have got to use the hard tyre compound for a minimum of 5 laps. I would imagine you can, Brian. I would imagine you can. I'm sure Brian will reset the grid and see how things go. Yeah, so I don't... I would imagine, Brian, if you are listening, that there won't be a problem. I'm guessing Kim's typing away to you if you're not listening, though you wouldn't have heard me just then. So we're about halfway round the flying laps, and 2 minutes 29-ish seconds for a lap. So some are going to get 2 laps in here. Few of them towards the back of the field, the likes of Collins here. Fitzy might not get that second lap in, but we shall have to see how things go, and see how many people actually get a second lap in. But certainly Dennington looking very, very fast. Little John is nearby, just far enough back not to get overly pulled in by the dirty air, but possibly get a slipstream down the faster section here. I've actually numbered up my corners wrong on my board and everything, so I'll be doing my best to work out which way round the numbers should be. I thought we were going the correct way round earlier tonight when I set everything up. So we're into the last few seconds, and it's going to be the very front few who are going to get a second lap. Dennington comes across the line now, 2 minutes 18.2, 2 minutes 6. 2 minutes 18.6 by Little John behind, 2 minutes 19.1 by Omron behind him. And that's it. It is going to be 6 drivers by the looks of it that are going to get an extra lap in. So the guys crossing the line now are the ones that are just going to be missing out on an extra lap, unfortunately. I'm not sure exactly how many we had getting the extra lap. It looks like 4 possibly. Where did Andy White get? Andy White missed out, so yeah, it's going to be about 5 drivers, I think, that are going to be lucky enough to get the extra lap. But at the moment, with the last laps now being completed, currently we have Dennington in first place, half a second ahead of Little John, who's got half a second gap over Omron, who has managed to get an extra lap out of the time as well. Omron just half a tenth of a second away from Darren Baldwin, who's having a second go as well. Then we've got half a second further back is Adam Morgan, who has completed qualifying. Stu Shelton currently in 6th, again completed qualifying. Morris, unfortunately, down in 7th place. He will not be happy with that, but has he played the tactical side? No, he had damage. So that will be the reason for his 7th place, and that will instantly lose him ground towards the front 2. Lane, who has finished his qualifying as well, currently in 8th. Dykes, who's getting a extra lap in, currently in 9th. Andy White in 10th. Collins in 11th, and Lee Fitzy in 12th at the moment. But we've got Little John, Dennington, Omron, Baldwin and Dykes who are going to complete laps, so we'll try our best to keep up with them as they come across the line and finish their qualifying laps. Dennington now up over the curb, a little bit of dust kicking right at the end of the curb, and he comes across the line now, doesn't improve his time. Little John just behind, doesn't improve his time. Omron now coming across the line as well, does improve his time but doesn't improve the position. Baldwin and Dykes now across the line. Dykes then improves his position up to 7th place, and Baldwin up into 3rd place right there, right at the end of qualifying, and pipping Omron there by just 0.009 of a second, 9 thousandths of a second between the two of them. I told you it was going to be close between those two, and it's only 2 points in the championship. Let's see what happens here now. We have the grid there: Dennington, Littlejohn, Baldwin, Omron, Morgan, Shelton, Dyke, Morris, Lane, White, Collins, and Fitzy at the rear. I will give everyone a bit of a heads up because I already know this. Fitzy is struggling tonight already. He's got a few issues. There we are. We are having the restart to add Moncani into the grid. So if anyone who's listening, if we can jump out quickly, and we'll get the grid reset nice and quick for Moncani to jump back in. Morris having a nice test. Well, it looked like everyone there having a nice little test of the start, and nice to see everyone having a decent getaway there to start with. But we'll be jumping out, just waiting for Darren to jump out. I'm guessing trying to have a quick look to see what the grid order was like, but it will be a quick restart for Moncani to be added into the grid and allowed to take part for the evening. And hopefully Moncani won't have any major issues during the race, like the issues he was having originally. Oh, it's just completely crashed Darren's game, so it looks like we're going to have a complete server reset, unfortunately. Possibly, I will hazard a guess that that could be something to do with the issues that we had at the start of qualifying. You might have noticed that the clock didn't start ticking straight away. It's one of the issues that we've noticed more and more recently, unfortunately. But hopefully it won't cause too many issues and it won't delay too much time. Let's just see if there's anything being said in the chat. Yeah, nothing major being said on there at the moment. Just a few guys wondering how quickly we'll get things underway, and I'm sure things will be underway as quickly as possible. Let's have a look, see if we've got the room back open. Not at the moment. I'm going to come back out as well and just do a full lobby, just in case it's myself as well. We never know. I'm being told my fault from behind. Who knows, it might be. But let's have a look. Are we back? Not yet. It looks like someone's already got a test lobby going for another Eldar Sim Racing series for tomorrow night. While we wait for the lobbies to or lobby to reopen, I'll give you a quick rundown of the other series that Eldar Sim Racing runs on Monday nights, and actually restarting this Monday night is the brand new Eldar Sim Racing Endurance Series with 2 tiers, and if anyone is interested, we do have room.
Darren's just loading back up.
He's just loading back up now, right, lovely. Yes, if anyone's interested in a further endurance series using purely GR3 cars, not just the Porsches like in this series, we do have space in the series, so if you're interested, drop us a message, let us know in the chat, or drop myself a message personally, and we'll get you into one of the 2 lobbies that we have. League sponsored by Go Fudge Yourself, a wonderful local fudge company to myself here in Wells in Somerset, and yeah, it will be great fun. 90-minute endurance races. I believe it's a 6-week series, and the final race at Spa is a double points 2-hour race, so lots of fun to be had there as things go along. Wednesday night is the Eldar Sim Racing BTCC series, and if any of you tuned in last night, what a fantastic couple of races we had with the Sprint and Feature series. Looking absolutely brilliant as well as the cars went round. That was brought to you by Andy Hopley, and is available to watch back on the YouTube channel right now if you do so wish. Following on from that, on Thursday nights we have this wonderful series going on, but I don't need to tell you much about that one because we're watching it right now. Lobby's back open and we are back in, so anyone who is on the stream that hasn't had a look to see if they can get back online, we are up and running again, and we can jump back in. As soon as everyone's in, obviously we'll get things back underway. Going back to the other series that ESR currently runs, we have the Friday night series, the GT Supercars, brought to you by Malcolm Argyle, and the World Touring Supercar series, brought to you by Andy Hopley as well. Both live every week on the Eldar Sim Racing channel. And again, you can watch back all through the series, see things that have happened in previous weeks. Some very, very good close racing there by everyone. And funnily enough, the guys this week will be racing at Yamagiwa, so 2/3 of this circuit that we are racing at tonight. And then on Sunday nights coming up very, very soon, I think it's about 3 weeks from this Sunday, 12th of September I'm being told, will be the start of the ESR Eliminator series. We've had a couple of these as one-off events. They've been massively good fun, and everyone's really enjoyed the the series so far. So we've turned it into they've enjoyed the one-off night, so we've turned it into a series. So we have still got a few spaces left available for that as well, and we've got the option as well, if there's enough interest from people out and about there, plenty of interest, we can open up a second lobby. We've got ideas on how to integrate the second lobby as well. And that one was obviously the brainchild of Malcolm Argyle. His personal thoughts and worries, blood, sweat, tears, the whole lot have gone into the series, and I'm sure it'll be a cracking series when it gets underway on the 12th of September. Obviously, if you are interested, let us know. Tell us and let us know how things are going. So that's the series that we currently run. Obviously, we're working on even more things to bring to you all the time, and we also welcome any random ideas that people have, or one-off nights, things like that. We shall see what happens in time, but it looks like we are about to get underway for round number 5 of the Porsche 911 RSR series as they head to the grid right now. So it will be the qualifying positions from earlier on. So we've got Dannington on pole, Littlejohn in second, Baldwin, Omron, Morgan, Shelton, Dyke, Morris, Lane, White, Collins, Fitz and Moncani there added at the rear of the field. Hopefully Moncani doesn't have any issues and gets away fantastically well tonight. Do we have any better camera angle? Unfortunately not, so we are going to stare at Dennington as the lights turn green and away we go. Dennington getting a decent start. Littlejohn defending very early from Baldwin, who's got a good start. Morgan there making a good move round the outside of Omron, but just succumbing to the line through turn number 1 here as Dennington leads us away from Littlejohn, and Baldwin in 3rd place. Omron in 4th, so no real change here at the front of the field. Morgan in 5th place, looking for a way past Omron nice and early, and he's going to have a look up the inside, and is he going to take the place away? Just about. He's going to have a slower exit, and that's going to hamper him down the hill, and Omron gets the place back as they come round the left-hander, but very, very close by these two already, less than a minute into the race. But Morgan currently in 5th. 6th place is Stu Shelton. 7th is Adam Dyke here as they come through the first joining hairpin of the track. And he's got William John Lane in close contention in his Kodak liveried Porsche here. Right up his bumper and looking for a way past Dyke already is Lane. 9th place is Andy White with Morris, who's going to try and do something special from back here in 10th place, possibly save a lot of fuel and knock out a pit stop, which could bring him into contention later on. 11th place is Lee Fitzy, who's made a good start from the rear of the field up into 11th place already. Collins in his 88 Alley tribute based car. I'm always say it, based on the NASCAR livery of Jimmy Johnson, and a nice little tribute there to JJ himself, who has now retired from the NASCAR scene, but I believe running a little bit of IndyCar this series. And at the rear there we have the classic green and blue camouflage livery of Moncani Racing and Brian Moncani there at the rear of the field. So we'll see how things go. Back to the front, and it's Dannington and Littlejohn just starting to pull a little bit of a gap now, 1 second over Baldwin in 3rd place. And these two will be already starting to think about the fuel, the tyre wear, and how they can progress through the race. Obviously with Morris a little bit further down there in 8th place, they'll be wondering how he's going to work his way up as well. Just behind we have a 3-car battle with Baldwin, Omron and Morgan, all in very, very close contention, and certainly be fighting for the final podium position at the moment. Behind Shelton a little bit on his own in 6th place, and Dyke a little bit on his own, and then a gaggle of cars in 8th place. We've got Morris currently in 8th, Lane in 9th, who's going to have a look around the outside, and that's going to open the door for Lee Fitzy. but just about closes it in time. Lane's going to have a look at Morris as they come down the hill through the left-right as they come down to the chicane and join onto the Miyabi piece of circuit. Braking hard now through the chicane onto the Miyabi track, and essentially this is the start-finish or the pit straight of the Miyabi track. As they continue to battle, they actually seem to be closing the gap on Dykes that little bit ahead of them. But Morris there currently in 8th, Lane in 9th, Fitzy in 10th, Andy White there in 11th place, and then just a little bit of a gap now to Marshall and Moncani still at the rear, but those two fighting away with each other as well, so fingers crossed that these two have a nice little battle as they work their way up through the field. Back to the front, and it's still Dennington with that 6/10, nearly 7/10 of a second lead, coming to the long sweeping right-hander at the far end of the track, and Dennington just opening that gap to just over 7/10 of a second now to Little John, who's lost a little bit of time to Baldwin there in 3rd place, down to about 9/10 of a second. This is one of the quickest sections of the circuit as well, and a very tricky left right, a little bit off throttle, a little bit of brake just to settle the car, but very, very quick section of circuit, and very, very tricky as well. But it looks like we've actually almost got 5 cars here battling for the lead, all very, very close, all within 2-3 seconds of each other, we'll go with. So we've got Dennington currently in the lead, Baldwin a little bit wide there, that's going to cost him time to Baldwin was the one who was wide, it was Omran who's going to gain that little bit of time by Baldwin. Slight slip onto the grass there, and Baldwin just about keeping his position ahead of Omran, but losing that little bit of time to Little John. Maybe that dirty air off the back of the Porsche from Little John causing that wide run from Baldwin, but who knows, it'll be a regroup and try again. As I say that, Omran's gone that little bit wide in the hairpin, and that's cost him 4th place to Morgan, and dropping even further back towards Shelton as well for Omran, unfortunately. Just on that the joining section, there is a slight bump just in the braking area, and it can just unsettle the car. If you don't expect it, it just seems to bottom the car out, and it can send the car that little bit wide in the corner, almost like what happened there for Omran. A little bit unfortunate for him, but surely a regroup. And we see Shelton there off track as well, coming down the hill to the bottom corner and the tighter corner of the Miyabi circuit, but recovering nicely. Battle for 7th place is still going on. They have caught Dyke, and Morris has got himself up into 7th place ahead of Adam Dyke so far, but a 3-car train here now, with Morris leading, Morris in 7th place, Dyke in 8th, and Lane there in 9th place, still not giving up the hope of taking the battle and taking a bit of a chance against Morris as they come up through the quick section here, the left right. They're all following each other very, very closely. A lot of dirty air going on, so that'll affect the tyres. You can see Lane just struggling to get the car in that little bit. Let's have a look. Is Lane on harder tyres? No, he is running the medium tyres for the first stint. You could really see just how hard it was for him to get the car into the corner through the quick section there. But we'll have while we've got the graphic up, we'll have a quick look, see who's running what tyre, see if anyone's chanced their arm on the harder. We've got Dennington currently running the medium tyre with Little John as well. About the same sort of fuel and tyre wear so far on the two of them. Baldwin in 3rd place, keeping the 2 guys at the front of the field very, very honest so far as well, and roughly about the same sort of tyre wear as well, which is good to see. So who knows, we might see some might see stranger things yet from the front of the field. Morgan also running the medium tyre at this current time, as is Omran. 6th place Stu Shelton also on the medium tyre. Morris on the medium tyre, so he's not gone for a strange stint at the start of the race. but hoping to pull something out the bag a little bit later on, maybe. 8th place is Adam Dyke, who's on the medium. Lane on the medium. Moncani is the first car on the hard tyres, and he is currently in 10th place. So that's the first driver on the hard tyres. 11th Marshall, also on the hard tyres, which explains why they've dropped back that little bit from the lead group. And 12th place Fitzy, who was in that battle earlier on, but seems to have dropped down. Maybe a slight issue already starting to creep in for Fitzy for the time being. And in 13th place Andy White on the hard tyres, but that looks to me like he's been in the pits. Yeah, looking at the gap there, he's probably been in the pits, sort out some sort of damage, stuck the hard tyres on nice and early, and get that 5 laps out of the way. Back to the front of the field, and Dennington is stretching that lead further and further. He's not going to allow Little John that chance to have the slipstream, save that bit of fuel and get that little bit of an edge over him in the early stages of the race. So Dennington already pushing very, very hard as we approach the 10-minute mark of the race into turn number 1, and the car's looking fantastic with the lights on in the late afternoon here in Japan. Little John in 2nd place, who's got himself up to about 1.1 second lead, but running slightly wide there. It's going to put him slightly wider here as well. That's going to lose him that little bit of time. That actually gives him a time penalty, and this is going to really bring Darren Baldwin up into contention for 2nd place, as he has not been able to shake Darren at all. Darren's already closed it up to about 0.8 of a second. So he could be right on the rear bumper of Dennington, of Little John, as Little John starts to spend the penalty there in the early stages of or the mid stage of the lap. And Baldwin very, very close by, already looking to take advantage of any small mistake, and there was that small mistake there by Little John in the early part of the lap, round about turn number 4. And Baldwin will be pushing extremely hard to get up onto the rear bumper. He's pulling away that little bit now from Adam Morgan, who was in 4th place there as they come down towards the tighter corner of the Miyabi circuit. The recovering on-run there in 5th place in the pink and blue liveried Porsche. 6th place is Shelton, and he's doing a good job. He's now starting to get the orange Reese's car of Gareth Morris there in 7th place, just starting to get that little bit bigger in that rear view mirror as Morris has started to drop Adam Dyke in 8th place, and he's managed to pull it away even further from Lane, who I would hazard a guess has had a small off or slide or something like that. And Lane will be recovering. Yeah, he's dropped 5.6 seconds back, so I would say Lane's had some issue there. Marshall now up into 10th place, who's got himself ahead of Moncani in 11th. These two already on the harder tyres, remember. They seem to start the race on the hard tyres as well. Fitzy up into 12th place and doing a grand job at recovering his way back towards the pack after the early dramas. And then Andy White in 13th place, already made a stop, already on the hard tyres, and looking to get himself towards the end of the race. A little bit all over the place over the curve there. That curve is a real big kicker. Get it wrong and it will eat you up and spit you out. And as I say about pit stops, at the end of lap 5 we see Brian Moncani coming in, dropping those hard tyres nice and early onto the mediums, fill it up with fuel and get back out onto track as quickly as we can. We'll go back to the lead battles and the battle for 2nd place, and Dyke's still driving as hard as he can, with Baldwin right up the rear bumper now, and putting more and more pressure on Little John. And this is just allowing Dennington to move away, now up to almost 3 seconds ahead in the lead of the race, as Baldwin now starts to really pile on the pressure. And this is working brilliantly for Dennington because it's wearing Little John's tyres. It's making him use more fuel as more and more pressure gets piled on by Baldwin in the early stages. We're only at lap 6, but almost 15 minutes in. And you can see how much it's slowing him down, because Morgan was a lot further back than that from Baldwin as well. And Morgan is now slowly but surely catching these two up as well. And before long, you'll probably see it will be a 3-car battle for second place. Let's go on board with Darren Baldwin. We can see the logo of Idle 4 Gaming there just about on the bonnet. And the windscreen wiper in the upright position already as we come through the quick section of the track. Down towards turn number 20, hard on the brakes. Baldwin has a look up the inside. The door is open just about. Little John closing it towards the latter stages, running out wide. Baldwin a slightly tighter line, and it's cost him that little bit. Down the start and finish straight, back into the slipstream now, down towards turn number 1. Lap number 6 goes into the books. Down to turn number 1 now, braking at about the 80-yard marker, running that little bit wide, getting a better, tighter line on the exit, getting on the throttle that little bit earlier. And that rear bumper's getting closer and closer to us as they come to turns number 2 and 3, and Little John a little bit loose into the corner there, running him a little bit wider. Baldwin unable to get on the throttle that bit earlier, and there we are, there's the mistake, is it? As Little John goes out wide and Baldwin's up the inside, and they're side by side as they come out the corner. Baldwin just not quite able to take advantage, but there was the slight mistake. You can see the pressure is now getting to Little John as you saw the small mistake there, just running that little bit wider. And again there, just putting the power on that little bit too early, getting the car sideways. It's costing him time, it's burning those rear tyres up. The pressure is certainly getting to Little John, it seems, and Baldwin's just going to sit there and wait for that major mistake by the looks of it to take second place. Behind we have Morgan in 4th place, hoping the two of them in front come together and he'll inherit second place, and who knows, stranger things have happened before. 5th place is the recovering Omran after running wide earlier on and just going wide in the early hairpin onto the Miyabi track. 6th place is Stu Shelton, who's got Morris in 7th place, getting bigger and bigger in that rear view mirror as he opens the gap up to 8th place. Adam Dykes that little bit more, but not dropping him as quickly as Morris might have hoped. 9th place is Lane, who's recovering still. Has he been into the pits looking at that gap? No, just suffering with the front end damage and very worn tyres by the looks of it already. And he's doing a grand job so far, but he's got the charging Lee Fitzy in 10th place now. He's worked his way up through the field after the early mistake, back up into 10th place, 32 seconds off the lead, but doing very well indeed. 11th place is Moncani, who's got himself now back in front of Collins, who has been into the pits, I believe, to fit the medium tyres. Yes, he has. This is his first lap out of the pits by the looks of it as well. So these two continuing their battle for 11th and 12th place. And then 13th is Andy White, not too far behind either, only about 6 seconds behind the two of them in front. And we know White's already had his hard tyres fitted, and he's medium tyres, I would say, to the end of the race now. Lane is in the pits, we can see from the graphics, so that could allow the likes of Moncani and Collins to close up and just jump him in the pit lane, will they? By the looks of it, yes, they have jumped him in the pits, so positions gained for Collins, Moncani and Andy White, just about missing out, but just 2 seconds behind Lane on the warmer tyres as well, knowing the grip levels, so we'll see what happens along the lines there. Dennington still with that 3-second lead, now just managing it to a 3-second lead to Little John and Baldwin. Baldwin very, very wide there, coming out of the quick section of the Miyabi circuit, just losing that little bit of time there to Little John in 2nd place. Baldwin dropping actually now to about 1.2 seconds behind and losing that bit of time now, under a second to Morgan, who is in 4th place now, and now starts to get a sniff of that podium position. Will the smell of the champagne just edge that extra little bit of speed out of him, knowing that champagne's there? I would say cooling, but probably warming at the moment, up on the podium. So Little John now has got that bit of a gap to Baldwin after Baldwin's small mistake, and that's going to dirty the tyres up. It's not going to be helpful for Baldwin. It'll cost him a few tenths of a second in the next few corners as well. And we see Little John being the first to come into pit lane and get rid of those medium tyres, deciding, nope, that's enough. Let's drop them. So it's promoted Baldwin up into 2nd place now, with Morgan in 3rd place. He's got 7-second lead over Shelton, who has got Morris now right up the exhaust pipe. Morris smelling the exhaust fumes from the BP liveried 911 of Shelton. Morris will be looking to do everything he can to get past as quickly as he can as well. And Morris, how's Morris looking on? Morris looking not too bad on fuel. The tyres are worn, but everyone's going to be in roughly the same sort of state as well. But Morris able to keep a tighter line there through turn number 4's hairpin. Flicking to the outside, so he's going to have the outside line, and there's someone off. There's someone off ahead. It's Baldwin. What's happened to Darren? Let's go back. They come down towards the hairpin connection between the two tracks. He's wide, cuts it in tight, and it's that bump. It's that bump in the track, and that's what sent him off. And that is going to be the killer. Possible heavy damage as well, I would imagine, for Baldwin. Yeah, front end, both front tyres, so he'll be into the pits this lap, no doubt. Drop those medium tyres, get that repaired, because that is going to cost him no end of time. But he will be kicking himself after that, after running so strongly in the early part of the race and battling away with Little John for 2nd place. He will be fuming in there. The red mist will come down for the rest of the race, and who knows, we might see a storming drive back to the podium. But for now, that's allowed Morgan up into 2nd place in the Snickers hazelnut livery. As I say that, it's commentators cursed galore at the moment. He makes a mistake, just running wide, and just tanks the barrier with the rear of the car, as the tyre wear really is starting to take effect on these cars. Maybe Little John's played this a blinder. We'll go up to Dennington, and is he going to hit the pits this lap? A little bit sideways as he enters, but yes, he is. Morgan as well, off towards pit lane now. So we've got Morris now into 3rd place. He is going to enter pit lane as well, as is Shelton, as is Dykes. Baldwin will most certainly be in to get the damage repaired. There he goes. Omran in 7th place, but he goes for another lap. Now we know from previous races that Omran is very, very good at his tyre management. He is the Sergio Perez of the Porsche League. He manages to make those tyres last and last. And we've only got 8 minutes till we get to half distance. So who knows? He could manage these tyres to mid-race, do a one-stop. This could put him in a fantastic position in the battle, battle for the front of the field. Who knows where this will put him? But if it is one stop, if he does go for the one stop, he's got that jump over Little John at the moment, who is in 2nd place. He's 2 seconds behind Omran, but he's got the jump. They're both going to have about one stop left of this race. Omran could be playing a blinding game here and putting himself into contention, not just for a decent finish, but also possibly, I'm going to go out and say it, I said it at Brands Hatch, I said it at Kyoto, I said it at Nürburgring, he's putting himself into the contention for a victory in this race. I'm hoping if I keep saying it, 1 week I will be right, but he's got a 2.1 second lead. Has Omran over Little John in 2nd place, who has made one stop. Dennington in 3rd place currently, 4.7 seconds further back from Omran, but again, he's made the stop. He has changed tyres. We've got Dennington on the medium tyres, so he will definitely be back into the pits, as is Little John. Both of them will be back into the pits for the hard tyres. Omron, there's no way Omron is only on that sort of tyre wear. Surely not. Surely he's not been in the pits. Have we missed this somewhere? Can we have a look on the live timing? Let's have a look. See the tracker. He hasn't been in the pits. He has. Yes, he has. Surely he's been in the pits there. That would be the mistake that he made early. I do wonder if this is a blinding, gentle drive on the medium tyres by Omron, because if that's the wear that he's got after 11 or 10 laps, that's fantastic tyre management, and he is going to make this to half distance. He's got just a little bit more wear than the likes of Little John, who's been out on these tyres for 3 laps. He's got a lot less fuel. Omron is playing a blinding little game here, and I think he's playing himself into contention for victory here. Very, very gentle on the tyres. Brilliant to see. Absolutely fantastic. The gap's down to 1.7 seconds, but he's still got roughly the same pace as Little John. He's don't count Omron out. Do not count Omron out. If you like the outsider, Omron's the man to back here tonight. Behind the lead 3, we've got Adam Morgan, who's taken advantage of the mistake by Baldwin earlier on, and he's currently running in 4th place, 8.5 seconds behind Dennington, so lost a bit of time in pit lane, and he's on the hard tyre, so that's where some of this time's going to go, because the hard tyre's obviously that little bit slower, but certainly Morgan in 4th place, doing a fantastic job. And it's looking very settled as well, because he's got a 7.2 second lead over Shelton, who's still got Morris in close contention in 6th place as well. And we've got Adam Dyke as well, fighting it out with them as he just runs that little bit wide through the fast section of the Miyabi track. So we've got Shelton in 5th, closely followed by Morris in 6th place, who'll be ruining that awful starting position down in 10th. And there we are. We saw the move there from Morris, setting him up through the Miyabi section. Can we go on board and just see how he completes this move? Slightly tighter line here down the bottom section, and then into the hairpin back onto the Yanguina track. Shelton just running that little bit wider, and there's the pass made by Morris up into 5th place. Shelton down into 6th place now, with Adam Dyke already on the rear bumper and pushing very, very hard. Is it down to tyres? Hard, medium. So Adam Dykes is on the medium, so he's going to get the slight advantage, the slightly grippier tyres, but they're going to wear quicker. And there we are. We see the tighter line coming through the last corner, down the start-finish straight into the slipstream now. Pulls towards the inside for turn number 1, brakes that slight bit later, about 10 yards later, but just not quite enough to get himself up the inside of Shelton there. We'll continue down the field and then we'll come back to the battle. As I say that, Little John has got himself ahead of Omron now, but Omron still working away hard. He's got himself in a very good position. I keep saying it, he's got himself in a very good position. Down to half a second now as they come back onto the Miyabi track. But these 3 drivers very, very close. Little John currently in the lead, 0.8 of a second ahead of Omron, who's got 0.8 of a second over Dennington, who was the early leader and led every lap until his pit stop. And where Little John has obviously got the slight jump on him as well. So tyre wear, it's all playing a massive factor here at the moment. But the leader is now Little John in the Jack Daniels livery, and he'll be hoping to extend the championship lead just that little bit more by the end of the race. But there's a long way to go. We've still got 32 minutes to go before we get to that point. We'll go back to back through the remainder of the field, and we've got Moncani and Collins still fighting away for 8th and 9th place after these two had their early stint on the hard tyres. And we've got the recovering Baldwin there in 10th place after his little mistake just here. No, just around the other section, the bump proving very, very costly for Baldwin. Andy White there in 11th place, battling away still, and he's got about 5.5 seconds lead over Lane, who's got himself nearly 10 seconds over Lee Fitz, who's still trying to recover after the early issues he struggled with earlier. But we shall see how Lee continues to go. Maybe struggling that a little bit with a few issues, maybe. I'm not sure. Can we go on board with Lee and see if there's anything clear that's putting any issues in? Nothing at the moment seeming to be any issues. Car seems to be handling well through there. Maybe it's just those hard tyres causing the issue for Fitzy at the moment, but time shall tell. We go back to Little John now at the front of the field, and he's got himself now 1.5 seconds ahead of Omron, who's under massive pressure now from Dennington. Dennington clearly wanting to get by and start closing that gap up to Little John for the battle within the championship. Omron's still managing them tyres brilliantly well. I cannot knock it at all. Dennington finally getting himself up the inside and up into second place, is he? Not quite, because Omron's got the inside line, but Dennington just about chops the nose off through the fast section of the Miyabi circuit. But between the two of them, the wear's not a huge amount, considering that Dennington's not long pitted. Oh, slight contact between the two, and that's Dennington spun round there by Omron, and it'll be interesting to see what's said there. Maybe a few choice words in the cockpit and under the crash helmet there from Dennington at the moment. But that certainly cost him a lot of time in the battle towards the front and for the victory over Little John. He's now dropped himself down to about 10.5 seconds. And as I said with Baldwin, the red mist will be down. And I'm glad we haven't got the drivers mic'd up, because the beep machine will probably be used a fair bit right now. Let's be honest about it. Dennington will have to really knuckle himself down, push as hard as he can, which could throw his strategy out the window a little bit, but time will tell, and we'll see what happens. So Dennington in the lead, who's now got 4.2 second lead over Omron after the issues there. Dennington into third place. Look at that, already closed up over half a second just on the early sections of the lap. And he's in third place. He's now 3 seconds ahead of Morgan in fourth place with the Snickers hazelnut livery. Fifth place is now Gareth Morris, who will be pushing even harder to see if he can catch up with his good friend and Welsh compatriot in fourth place. Morris obviously will be pushing very, very hard and trying to minimise the damage of this round to the championship battle. Sixth place is still Stu Shelton, who has still just about got the better of Adam Dykes at the moment, and we'll see how that battle continues to go throughout the remainder of the race. Shelton obviously on the hard tyres with Dykes on the medium, and Doug will obviously have the slightly better grip level, but eventually over time the tyre wear will even itself out, because the mediums will wear quicker, so you'll see the advantage even out, if you like. Collins is currently in 8th place. It looks like Moncani's been into the pits, because we've dropped him from this battle, but Collins in 8th place with the recovering Baldwin in 9th place, and again he'll be spitting razor blades in that crash helmet and turning the air very blue around him. no doubt, as the red mist comes on down. Lane there up into 10th place, and taking advantage of Moncani, who is in 11th, having pitted, who's now coming under a little bit of pressure from Fitzy in 12th, and Andy White there in 13th place. Again, I would hazard a guess, having been into pit lane. Back to the front, and Little John is now just maintaining that gap to Omran, it seems, trying to get a bit of extra life out of the medium tyres, maybe the extra lap or two as well, now that he seems to be in that slightly stronger position. We look to the rear and I can see Dennington having a bit of a weave early, maybe trying to block or drop the slipstream, or was he trying to gain some from Omran, who is now in pit lane. So it's the medium tyres off. More than likely, I would imagine the hard tyres going on. Omran had to come into the pits. You can see they're out of fuel completely, and it'll be a full tank of fuel. 26 minutes to go, just 26 minutes on those hard tyres. This is going to be Omran to the end of the race. So this could be the make or break time now for Omran, whether or not he will be in a position to go for the win here tonight, or will it be Little John, or who knows, Dennington might actually recover brilliantly. Already down to 9 seconds now, back to Little John in 2nd place at the moment. 3rd place is Adam Morgan, ever present, ever there, just ticking the laps off, 4 seconds behind Dennington. 4 seconds behind Dennington, but doing a fantastic job there. Sat in 3rd place at the moment, just hoping for that slight mistake, and he's actually catching Dennington at the moment. So maybe pushing that little bit harder. Quite happy with the wear rate of the medium tyres. No, he's on the harder tyres as well. So he's considering he's catching Dennington. All right, Dennington's probably going to have slightly higher wear, especially after the spin. With the contact with Omran, but Morgan is going to be very, very happy with this at the moment, maintaining about a 4-second lead, but he'll have the advantage a little bit later on when Dennington goes onto the hard tyres. Morgan has the mediums. He will have to push really, really hard in that early stage while he's got the better grip, and you can see it here now. Look, as Dennington had the medium tyres, he opened that gap up. I believe it was about 6 seconds earlier when we looked, and now as the tyre wear has started to take over in Dennington's car that little bit, the lap times come down that little bit more, and Morgan's now started to close the gap up that little bit more. So Morgan in 3rd place, Morris in 4th place, who is also on the hard tyre as well. So this, again, could be a very good strategical move here by Morris, possibly playing his way in 20 seconds behind Little John, but under 8 seconds now to Morgan, and he'll be hoping the Welshman Morgan will be able to do something about Dennington and maybe pull Dennington back towards Morris that little bit later on in the race. 5th place is currently Stu Shelton in the BP livery, and he's managed to open up a gap of 1.2 seconds now to Adam Dyke. Again, this is what we can see here, the tyre wear playing out that little bit. Shelton on the harder tyre, Dykes on the medium, and you can see Dykes now, he closed right up onto that rear bumper of Shelton, was putting massive amounts of pressure on him, but again you can see Shelton just seems to have that little bit better grip now, even though he's on the slower tyre as such. He's got the slightly higher grip level, can keep the tighter line through the corners, and he's opening up that gap that little bit. In 7th place is Brucey Collins, who's got Omran just 0.2 of a second behind. Moncani in 8th place, with Baldwin in 10th. So has Baldwin been in? Yeah, Baldwin's been in. Dropped the hard tyre now. Almost a full tank of fuel. I would hazard a guess that Baldwin's going to be going to the end of the race now, and yeah, I'd say Baldwin's going to the end of the race and seeing what he can recover after that incident at the corner just gone through earlier on in the race. 11th place is Andy White, who's got himself up from the rear of the field up into 11th place now. Fitzy up into 12th as well, recovering brilliantly and motoring on. Sure, there's been some sort of issue along the lines with that car at some point that we missed earlier on in the race. And Lane there in 13th place. Been in, no doubt, and fueled, tired all the way to the end of the race, because we've got 22 minutes and 10 seconds left in this race. Little John now with a 8.2 second lead. So it's now, we've had a couple of laps, it's come down by another 0.8 of a second. So it's about 0.4 of a second that Dennington's now taking out of Little John, but Little John won't be too worried about that. Obviously, he's got that 8-second gap, barring any major mistakes, and we have seen them from Little John. Let's be honest, we have seen the odd little mistake by Little John earlier on in the race. This should be Little John looking in very good shape for victory. But let's not count out 7th place at Omran there as well, who done brilliantly on the tyres early on in the race. 37.7 seconds behind. That might be a little bit too far back now for the pit stop switch round and essentially the undercut in the race, but it could be a little bit too far back. So it's looking like Little John just needs to keep it on the island, keep it on the black stuff, and could be taking victory number 2 for himself. Dennington still in 2nd place, but now 7.7 seconds. It's almost another 0.4 of a second that he's taken out of Little John again at this section. Morgan a little bit wide and erratic through the Miyabi fast section. He's actually got the gap to 6 seconds now over Dennington. But he's losing time to his good friend Morris, who's now down to just 4.6 seconds behind Morgan. 18 seconds off the lead. I don't think Morris is going to be able to do anything about the lead of the race, but certainly a podium is looking more and more doable for Morris after the atrocious starting position he had. Must have been some issue. And from memory, as he crossed the line to finish his lap, he did have some front end damage, so I would say a mistake somewhere within the qualifying session. 5th place is now Adam Dykes, who's got himself up ahead of Stu Shelton. We have missed that one, but he's not dropping Shelton very quickly, so maybe a small issue, a slight off or a semi-spin from Shelton losing that place, as we see that Dennington now is in pit lane. Dennington now deciding to get rid of those medium tyres, so it'll be the hard tyres going on, because this is going to be the last pit stop of the race for Dennington. So it's going to be 19.5 minutes on the hard tyres, as much fuel as needed to get to the end of the race. Stu Shelton now also in pit lane, and only 3% fuel left as well, so it's good to see that he's managed to get in nice and early. So Dennington now out in 5th place, 34.4 seconds, so what was it, 34 seconds he's down. It was about 7 seconds, so we're looking at what, 27, 28 seconds for a pit stop at the moment, and that would put Little John roughly about where Adam Dykes is at the moment, who's 27.6 seconds behind. So that's where we're looking at Little John coming out onto track when he does make his pit stop, which could be at the end of this lap. I will be completely honest, it could be the end of this lap. He has a 14.5 second lead over Adam Morgan in 2nd place, who's got Morris really closing in now for the battle for essentially the final position on the podium. 2.5 seconds back now, so he really is closing in very, very quickly on his mate in 2nd place. 4th is Adam Dykes, as we saw earlier, 27.8 seconds. So this is roughly where Little John will be coming out after his pit stop in a few moments' time. And that's going to give him about a 6-second lead over Dennington as well, who has been in. He's got hard tyres bolted on and will be going to the end of the race. You can see the hard tyres really not giving up much grip as they come out of the hairpin up the hill onto the Yamagiwa circuit. 6th place is Omran after battling really well, and like I said, we can see Little John now in pit lane. So Rasmus Omran there in 6th place. 7th place is the recovering Darren Baldwin after his mistake earlier on. Moncani up into 8th, Shelton in 9th, White in 10th place, Collins in 11th, Lane in 12th, and Fitzy after another pit stop is in 13th. We go up to the front and we've got Morgan, who is Little John just exiting the pits now. And how close was the estimate? I said about 6-7 seconds, and it's about 6.5 seconds, so not bad, not too bad from the commentator. As I say that, it goes down to 5.6 seconds, so the commentator was wrong, as always. Dennington in 2nd place has got Phil for those hard tyres now. 5.7 seconds and 16 minutes to do it. Can he pull this out the bag after being spun in the earlier sections of the race? Dennington has got a 4.3 second lead over Omran as the two were battling away earlier on. Behind Omran is Morgan in 4th place, who just under 3 seconds now to Omran in 3rd place. So Omran's played himself up into the early stages, but he's been on these tyres already for about 16 minutes already, so he's halfway through the life of the tyre. He's gonna have to the end of the race, so time will tell. But 2.8 seconds to Morgan in 4th, who's got 4.3 seconds. So Morris losing a bit of time in pit lane, maybe a little bit more fuel, who knows. So he can go fuel mixture 1 right the way to the end of the race and hope for 4th, maybe even 3rd place. Who knows? We will certainly find out in 15.5 minutes time. 6th place is the recovering Baldwin, and could well be on to the end of the race. There might have to be a small splash and dash depending on the fuel consumption that he's got going on at the moment. 7th place is Adam Dykes, and he's resumed his battle with Stu Shelton. This time round though, the tyres will be swapped around, so it'll be Adam Dykes on the hardened tyre, Shelton on the medium, no doubt, and Shelton will have the better run in the early part where the grip levels are slightly better. But that will even itself out after a few laps, and time will tell. But Shelton in 8th place, Collins there doing a wonderful job in 9th place. Will he be looking at pit lane again? I highly much doubt it, as he's almost full on fuel. So Collins looking very good for 9th place at the moment. Moncani, we've got Dennington, Little John back in pit lane. He forgot to put the hard tyre on. I said it earlier, didn't I? Barring a mistake, and there's the mistake. There's the mistake. He put the medium tyre on. He didn't put the hard tyre on. We completely missed it, and that has cost him the lead of the race and almost certain victory. So now it's Dennington who out of nowhere has got 4.2 second lead over Rasmus Omran in 2nd place. But Dennington, despite the spin, despite the contact, despite the damage, Dennington is now looking quids in for race victory here. We've got Omran in 2nd place. 3rd place is Morgan. 4th place now is Gareth Morris, who has got a bit of an edge over championship leader Little John, who has made the biggest mistake. And again, inside that helmet, his head must be exploding, the air must be blue around him. Unbelievable. As we see Morgan's had an issue. Adam Morgan's had an issue there. What happened? I'm guessing just losing it out of the... Again, it looks like that bump, the same bump that caused issues for Baldwin. It's the front end damage. It's the complete front end damage. Morgan's going to have to come into the pits, unfortunately, and get that repaired before the end of the race. You can see how many issues it's causing him through the Miyabi section of the track, as we lose Andy White there towards the end of the race. I would imagine some issue. He seemed to be recovering early on, but that's Andy White out of the race, unfortunately, as Dennington now opens up the gap to 4.8 seconds over Omron in second place, who's got now Morris chasing him down. Oh, you can see how annoyed Little John is. He's hitting the barrier there, coming out the quick corner, luckily not causing any damage, but he is absolutely furious with himself. It's unbelievable. I cannot believe the twists and turns in this entire race. 5.4 seconds is the lead that Dennington has over Rasmus Omron. Third place is Gareth Morris, who's opened up a 1.2 second lead over Little John, who looked quids in for victory. Fifth place is Adam Morgan, who's going to continue with the front end damage. He's decided against pitting at the moment, and he's going to try and nurse the car to the end of the race. He's got 6.5 second lead over Darren Baldwin, who again is recovering, had the same sort of issue as Morgan at the same corner, same sort of damage. So Baldwin now closing the gap, already down 0.2 of a second as I've been talking about it. Seventh place is Stu Shelton, who's got himself ahead of Adam Dyke. The tyres coming into play, like I said, but who knows, as the tyres even themselves out. I say that we see Dyke running out a little bit wide, costing himself 3-4 of a second, but the tyres might even out as time goes on. But Adam Dyke there in 8th place. 9th is Bruce Collins at the moment, and hey, the way things are going, who knows where Bruce could finish. We could see Bruce win this race still, the way that things are going. Who knows? Let's have an outside bet, shall we? Let's say Moncani, Fitz or Lane, who are 10th, 11th and 12th consecutively. Any one of these could win this race. Who wants to place a bet? Let's have a look. Let's see now. But at the moment, it is Dennington in the prime seat with just under 11 minutes to go. I'm being told from behind me that Gareth Morris is going to win this race, as we look for the battle for second place, and it's getting closer. Morris is closing the gap to Rasmus Omron in second place, down to 2.5 seconds to Morris in third. Little John pushing that a little bit too hard maybe, and losing time to Morris, now 2.6 seconds back. I believe hard tyre Morris on the medium, that could be another play, and Omron is also on the hard tyre, so Morris is on the prime tyre here, and Dennington's also on the hard, so Morris is in the prime seat, and Kim behind me has already gone out, and she's gone that Morris is going to win this race. 10 minutes left to go, and Morris has a gap of 7 points. She's putting a £50 bet down. Omron's in the pit, so that's promoted Morris up into second place now. 7.5 seconds, 10 minutes. He needs to put the hammer down now and probably gain about a second a lap. Morris looking very good on tyres as well. About the same sort of tyre wear as Dennington has as well. It could be done. It could be done. I'm not going to deny it. It could be done. But again, we have the top three in the championship, first, second and third. But it's Dennington who is currently leading. 7.2, 7.3 seconds is the lead over Gareth Morris, who's done fantastically well to recover to second place from starting 10th on the grid after a mistake in qualifying. Little John, who had the race sewn up, it was his. They were carving the name into the trophy, and he put the wrong tyres on. He is in third place, nearly 4 seconds behind Gareth Morris. I don't think he's going to be able to challenge Morris unless Morris has an issue. And let's face it, anything could happen in this race still. Morgan there in fourth place. Is he still motoring on with the front end damage? He is still plodding on with the damage, but he has lost about half a second to Stu Shelton. I was going to say half a second to Darren Baldwin, but Darren Baldwin's been into the pits. So Stu Shelton is currently in fifth place, as Omron is putting him under more and more pressure after coming in for a quick change of tyres onto the mediums. as well, and we'll stick with this little battle at the moment because Omran is putting more and more and more pressure onto the rear bumper of Stu Shelton, down to the low end of the Miyabi circuit, the slightly tighter corner, and Omran's got the inside line. He just about takes the 5th place away from Shelton before they come to the hairpin and back onto the Miyabi circuit, back up the hill, and 5th place is now Omran's. Shelton down into 6th place. Dyke is still in 7th place, but he is dropping further and further back, nearly 5 seconds behind Stu Shelton. Collins, I said, outsider, you never know, he could still win this race. He's already up a position, he's up into 8th place. He's got a 6.3 second lead over Darren Baldwin, who has come back into the pits, fitted a new set of tyres just to make sure he gets to the end of the race. Little splash and dash of fuel, I said that might have to happen for him, as there's 7.5 minutes left of the race. Moncani now in 10th place, with Lee Fitzy in 11th, Lane up into 12th, and as we saw earlier, we lost Andy White through some issue that we will find out later on, no doubt. But Dennington now just a 6.3 second lead. The gap has come down by a second in a lap. I said earlier it's going to have to be about a second a lap, and that is exactly what Morris has done on the first lap that he's had a shot. Morgan deciding to come into the pits now and get that damage repaired, a new fresh set of tyres on, maybe a splash of fuel to get to the end of the race. That's promoted Baldwin up into 8th place. Collins, I did say watch him. Collins is now up into 7th place. Who knows, he could still win this race. He has gained a position every minute. There's 6.5 minutes left. He's in 7th. He does this again, a position every minute, he wins the race. Mark my words, mark my words. I'll be wrong, but mark my words. Dennington still with a 6-second lead, but he again has lost 0.3 of a second to Morris in 2nd place, who is going absolutely berserk. Everyone on the team radio will be in his ear. Push, push, push. If it was Bono in his ear, it would be hammer time. If it was Valtteri, you would not have Valtteri, it's James. Morris could still win this. Kim called it earlier, Morris is going to win it. Morris has got it down to 5.8 seconds. Who knows? 5.8 seconds seems to be a common thing for Morris at the moment, because that's the gap he's got to Little John in 3rd place. And I feel for Mark. He had the race in his grasp, and one small mistake on the tyre compound has cost him dearly. It's put him 11.7 seconds back from Dennington, where he had a 7-second lead. And I feel for him. I cannot put into words how much it must hurt. 4th place is Rasmus Omran, who is going to try his best to close up onto Little John, but 10.6 seconds might just be that little bit too much with 5 minutes to go. 5th place is Stu Shelton, doing a fantastic job now, and looking almost certain to collect 5th place, barring any issues. And let's face it, there could still be some in this race. 6th place is Adam Dykes in his still Orange Army based livery. Good to see him still running that, and 6th place looking very, very good for Adam tonight as well. 5.8 seconds ahead of Brucey Collins, who, you never know, I did call it earlier, and since I've called it, he's gone up 3 positions, but he has got Darren Baldwin there in 8th place, closing in very, very fast. 1.5 seconds back already, and taking a 1/10 of a second out just in the time that we have spent looking at Darren. 9th place is Brian Moncani, 16 seconds back from Darren, and with just over a second lead from the recovering Adam Morgan in the Snickers livery. I would say he's going to chase Moncani down pretty quick on the fresher tyres, and at least have 8th place away before the end of the race. But stranger things have happened. Fitzy there in 11th place, doing a fantastic job. We are hearing that he's had some sort of shoulder issues, similar to Stu Shelton, but possibly not quite as bad. But hopefully the physio's done their work pre-race, and just getting him through to 11th will be a grand result for Lee. I'm sure he will agree. 12th place there is William Lane, who admitted before the start of the race that he'd never driven this track. he'd driven the two parts separately, but never driven this track, and certainly never driven it this way round. So good to see William doing a good job, and not even a lap down, and not going to go a lap down, given there's only 3 minutes left of the race. And as I say, there's only 3 minutes left. The gap at the front is now under 4 seconds. This could still happen. Morris is on the quicker tyre, he's on the medium tyre. They're starting to show a fair bit of wear. He's got enough fuel on board. We're looking at we'll be looking at 2 more laps, I reckon. But Morris is pushing as hard as he possibly can, down to 3.5 seconds now to Dennington. This could go down to the wire. It could be all about coming through that last few corners at the end of this race. It's almost down to 3 seconds as we watch Morris. Anyone's guess as to who could win this race. It looked like it was going to be Omran early on after managing the tyres superbly. Then he had the incident with Dennington, and it dropped him back that little bit, and that almost handed the race on a plate to Littlejohn. And then the mistake with the tyres in the pits, and then it looked like Dennington was going to have the race sewn up. But with about a lap and a half left of the race, Morris is now under 3 seconds behind Dennington and is closing in fast. Round the long sweeping Miyabi first corner, they come down through the quick section, a slight lift and a slight touch of the brakes down through here, and Dennington holding it nice and tight. We can now see Morris in the background of the same picture. It's down to 2.1 seconds, and there is 1.25 laps. There's 1.5 minutes left. We are going to get 1 more lap out of this race, I reckon, unless Dennington plays a blinder, keeps and manages the gap, and just about manages to cross the line in 1 minute 17 seconds time. But he's too close. He can't do the 2, and it's going to come down to the final lap of the race. If Morris can continue to close in at this rate, he is going to be on that rear bumper at this stage. Dennington needs to keep this clean, keep it tidy, keep it on the island, and he will take the victory. Any small mistake and it will be Morris's. It's down to 1.8 seconds as they come round turn number 20 for the final, for the penultimate time, I should say. Down the start and finish straight, they come across the line about now, and it's 1.5 seconds. He's taken that amount of time out of Dennington purely on this lap. These two could cross the line nose to tail. It could even be nose to nose, and it could be a photo finish. Anyone want to take a guess? Anyone's guess now. 1.3 seconds. It's come down by 0.2 of a second in 2 corners. Morris could still win this. Let's ride on board. Let's ride on board with Morris. We can see Dennington there in front. The gap is now down to 1 second. It's anyone's guess. This could be the closest finish we've had in the Porsche League. It is the final lap. The time is up. I would normally see people across the line, but I'm going to stick with this because any small mistake and it will be a change in the lead. Marshall has crossed the line in 8th place, succumbing to Baldwin right at the end of the race, but he was the first person to finish. Marshall does finish in 8th place. I believe that was Moncani in 9th place, but at the moment we are looking at the battle for the lead, and it's 0.8 of a second as they come round the long sweeping Miyabi turn number 1, down through the quick flick of 2 and 3 at Miyabi, before they go to the bottom tighter corner later on the brakes. And it's 0.8 of a second between the two of them, the tighter corner here at the Miyabi circuit, and then the flick left of the hairpin back onto the Yanguina circuit, and it's just a quick section to go between the two. Dennington just opening it up that little bit, and then Morris very quick to close it back up. He's got the slipstream now up the hill as they come round through the flick of the left-hander, and then the long sweeping corner right-handed up the hill slightly onto the very, very fast sections, down to 0.7 of a second now. It's anyone's guess. Dennington just about having the lead over Morris, but Morris has certainly got the slipstream now as they come through the quick left, right, left, and Morris is closing. You can see the gap closing down to under 0.4 of a second now. It is going to come down to the last corner of this race. Morris looking towards the inside. They come round turn number 20. I don't think it's going to be enough for Morris. Unfortunately, it's down to 2/10. He's got the slipstream. He pulls out, does he? Across the start and finish line. And like I said, it is nose to tail. But Dennington does just about take victory from Morris by 1/10 or 1.5 tenths of a second. Closing up that amount of time was unreal. Little John will take third. Fourth place will be Rasmus Omren across the line. Fifth place will be Stu Shelton, doing a fantastic job to grab fifth place at the end of the race there. Coming across the line now, I'm sure he'll be very, very happy. Behind it's Dyke and Baldwin, who are going to go bumper to bumper. They're going to reenact the two of them at the front. Dyke just about getting it by 0.5 tenth over Baldwin in the end there. What a fantastic race. I said I expected the top three to be fighting it out. I did not expect it to be that close. Who would have thought at the halfway stage that it would be so close? Absolutely unreal driving from everyone, and a fantastic battle at the end of the race. How on earth Morris done that, how Little John lost it, how Dennington won it will remain a mystery to the end of my days. But Dennington wins by 0.14 of a second. Morris in second. It was Little John in third place, just under 10 seconds back in the end from Dennington. Omren there in third place. Shelton in fifth. Omren in fourth. Shelton in fifth. Dykes in sixth. Baldwin just about getting seventh place at the end of the race there. Collins there in ninth place. Morgan, and then Moncani, Fitz and Lane in 12th. What a fantastic race by everyone. Darren, yes, I have got the replay. I will just doubly make sure. Yes, I have got the replay, Darren. So don't worry, I will get that shared, because if you're not going to watch the replays back on online, guys, you've got to watch it in some way, shape or form. You've either got to watch it back here on YouTube, or you've got to watch the replay. What a drive. My personal driver of the day is going to go to Morris. To close that amount of time down was unbelievable. Adam Dyke there appreciating the drive there from Morris, and it has to be said, a fantastic drive from him. Dennington obviously not overly happy with Omren. You can understand that, but to recover from the spin and win the race still as well, great to see. The race had everything, guys. What, I cannot stress it enough. An unbelievable race, and I can't put it into words. I really can't put it into words. That has been fantastic to watch. It's been fantastic to commentate on, and absolutely brilliant. Bless you, Kim.
Thank you.
Kim just about missing out on a £50 bet with me there.
Nice, maybe 25.
It wouldn't make much of a difference because it's ours anyway, but hey, who cares? What a race we have had here tonight. I've just had a hair tie fly over my head. If you want to see more of this, I cannot stress enough, do check it out next week. Surely it can't get closer than this. Surely not. Surely we can't have as many incidents, as many twists and turns as we have had tonight. But who knows? We are at Spa, the famous Spa-Francorchamps circuit. With these cars, anything could happen. Anything and everything can, and as you saw tonight, it will happen as well. Changes in strategy, changes in position, changes because of contact, changes because of strategy mess-ups, whatever it is, anything, absolutely anything can happen. And what an absolute blinding race. Apparently, I'm being told it could well be in the wet. Yes, it is a wet race next week. Confirmed we have a wet race. So, the medium and the hard tyre compound will be out the window. Unless anyone fancies it. You never know. Someone might fancy a go on the Inters. Someone might do a Senna and chuck a set of slick tyres on and, hey, let's go for it. Strategy will still be in play, but who knows? Who knows? What a cracking night of racing from everyone involved. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Nick for Eldar Sim Racing, commentating on the Porsche RSR League. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have tonight. And I hope to see you all again soon, possibly even for next week. And yeah, Spa Fracker jumps. Let's do it. Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye.